We are slowly wrapping up our December marathon, day 24. We are on Christmas Eve, and we're going to have a good one. And we have a ranking the best tag teams of 2025. We're going to kick this one off with our first team, and that is going to be the Street Profits. Arguably had a match of the year contender with the 6-way TLC match. So a really good year in terms of in-ring quality, but once again, not a ton of matches. So where do you think they go?
Yeah, I think obviously, I think if they were to have a full year, they could easily be an S tier type of team. Even this year, I think they could have fallen into the A tier. However, due to the lack of just being around as much, it's been about 2 months since you last seen them. I'm gonna have to put them in B. But again, this team should be higher, could be higher, would be higher, given different circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, last time we seen them, they were kind of teasing the breakup again, and we still haven't gotten the payoff or literally anything since then. So yeah, I think B tier is appropriate. But moving on to our next team, we are going to the Vision. Obviously, more so speaking of Braun and Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, the Bronze. But yeah, we're talking about them two majorly, and I think probably B or C for me.
Yeah, I'm thinking more C tier. Obviously, they're not a real tag team. We haven't seen them go after the tag team champions or win those belts just yet. However, they've both been in a lot of tag team matches with each other, obviously. They have been pretty solid. However, most of their success from each man has been the singles division, but alongside each other. So yeah, I think C tier is fine. What they have done in the tag team division has been good. I do think it would have been worthwhile to have them in that tag team division while that was kind of being everywhere all over the place. But yeah, I think C tier is a good place to put them at.
Yeah, they did get their War Games match for whatever that's worth in a tag team division. But we're moving back to the AEW side of things, and we have the Hurt Syndicate. Someone had a really good year with their stuff with MJF and towards the middle of the year, and now they kind of have some injuries right now, unfortunately, with Bobby Lashley, but he will be back soon, and I'm expecting a really good 2026 from them. What do you think?
Yeah, they've had a very solid year again. We didn't see as much tag team action from the Street Profits or from the Hurt Syndicate this year, but yeah, still a solid year. I probably would put them in the C tier just because I think the lack of matches is there, and also some of the matches aren't the best. Obviously not bad by any means, but yeah, those teams I think have had a better quality of matches and just more matches as well.
Yeah, I think C tier is fine. I would like to see them in more of like a dominant fashion in 2026 if they're going to be back as a tag team at least.
Yeah, and then for the next one, staying in AEW, it is going to be Bro Dito, the former tag team champions. One of my favorite tag teams of the year. So for me, this is going to be one of the higher tiers for sure. I think when you look at just the match catalog that they had this year with the tag team run, it's a great list of matches, as long as with some great character building for both men. Bandito becoming one of the top guys now in AEW. It feels like in Brody King, kind of sticking his face still in that top of the picture type of scene. So yeah, I think this team, one of the best teams this year. Probably would go A, but I think there's also an argument for even S tier.
Yeah, I mean, they put on some of the best tag team matches of the year. Their 4-way tag team match that they had with the Bucks, and I forget the other teams involved, but it was an amazing match. There was a lot of amazing matches with them, obviously, and then singles as well. They both did amazing matches throughout the entire year. Yeah, I mean, why not S? Let's put them in S. I think A, you could put them there, but I do think in-ring quality-wise, they probably are the best tag team this year as far as in-ring quality.
Yeah, and then going over to Raw again, it's going to be the team of AJ Lee, AJ Styles, and Dragon Lee. Still kind of newly formed and kind of still getting things going, but they are now your tag team champions still, and they do have a match against the Usos, who didn't make this list, obviously, didn't have many matches with each other, but AJ Lee, pretty good year, pretty good fun matches. Obviously, the match at Star's main event on John Cena's last night was a great match with Javon and Leon, but yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely gonna be up there. I do like their stuff that they do together as a tag team. They did a really cool move where Dragon Lee does a Hurricane Rana into AJ Styles, where he catches him in the Styles clutch, and it was a really cool moment that they had there. But probably B tier with the Street Profits. I would put them in A, but I think just the lack of matches is holding them down.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But up next, we have the Wyatt Six, someone who hasn't done a ton this year in terms of in-ring matches. They've done a lot of backstage segments and kind of scaring people around and doing things of that nature. When they did win the tag titles, they kind of put it on ice, and we haven't really seen the tag team division do anything since then. So in a way, they kind of killed the tag team division. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, I will put them in D tier, I think. And it's not necessarily because of in-ring work, even though Dexter Lumis did have a few moments this year that is arguably D tier work.
Yeah, this year hasn't been great when they did get involved. Kind of shook took everything up for the wrong reasons. We had a lot of great tag teams like Fraxium. You had Andrade and Race Phoenix in there. You had DIY, Motor City, and when they won the tag team belts, everything kind of felt like it was everything that we weren't wanting to have, but it finally happened. And like you said, ever since they won the tag team belts, we haven't had as many defenses due to some injuries or kind of just things outside of wrestling that have been going on. So yeah, unfortunately, this is I think a proper tier for him. But yeah.
Yeah, and then up next we have Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, the two women that saved the WWE tag team division, the women's tag team division that is. But yeah, I will put them pretty high. It's not gonna be S, but I'm thinking A, potentially B, but I think A is probably more appropriate because they did have great matches. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss did a lot of single stuff as well during the year, for whatever that's worth, I guess. And yeah, they just did a lot of good stuff, as well as I mentioned, they saved the women's tag team division, and it's in a really good spot today.
Yeah, I think they've been able to kind of build their story with each other through this tag team division, because obviously I feel like everybody's expecting this eventual turn of one another to eventually set up a one-on-one feud probably going into next year's Mania. But yeah, this team has been pretty good. Like you said, they definitely brought a bit more care into that division, so I will give them a boost for that. I think A is a proper tier. I think, like you said, there's an argument for S. But yeah, I think A is a nice one just because they did do a lot for the women's tag team division.
And then another new tag team here is going to be the Elegance brand. If you're not familiar with them, they were your TNA Women's Knockouts champions. So they did a lot of really good work. They had feuds with the Iconics, with Spitfire, with Myla Grace and Harley Hudson. They had really good matches. Ash by Elegance was a world champion. So they did a lot of really good stuff. The storytelling was really good. They added in Maggie Lee. They added in Heather, which are two really good pickups, two really good wrestlers. And I think that they are kind of the future tag team division of TNA. I think they'll be around for a long time, doing a lot of really good work. But I'm thinking probably B tier, potentially C, but I'm thinking B tier.
Yeah, I think B tier is fine. There's a team that kind of dominated that tag team division, which we've seen a split of Spitfire, and yeah, they kind of were the main teams obviously in that tag team division, and obviously not a very deep roster over there for that tag team division, but yeah, they held it down for a while, made some really good TV time out of it, made Ash a bigger star, kind of introduced people to Maggie Lee, and so yeah, it's a very good run from them when they were tag team champions. Obviously now that Ash is gone, it's now just Maggie, so yeah, it's gonna be probably a B tier. I kind of think I can agree with that.
Yeah. And up next, we have Fraxium, someone who had an incredible 2024, but their 2025 has been a little bit lackluster. And it's not because of anything that they did. Every time they step into the ring, it's always great, fast-paced and stuff. But they also did a lot of singles, kind of individual things. I believe both of them had Gunther matches this year when they were doing that kind of open challenge thing with Gunther on SmackDown or something. As well as, they had matches with Ilya Dragunov and things of that nature. So they've been very, very active, just not necessarily in the tag team division. So I'm thinking probably a C tier, unfortunately, for Fraxium.
I think I still would put them B tier, mainly just because of the stuff they did earlier in the year in NXT still. Have the match with Inamura and Briggs, I think was a good match. The send-off match in NXT versus Hank and Tank at Stand and Deliver was another good one. And they're also in the SummerSlam TLC match, so they did have a lot of good matches. I do agree that I think consistency definitely is going to be the kind of backdraw from them, but yeah, I think B is solid. Obviously, the profits are also there, so that's another reason why I'd probably slide them in there as well.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then let's go back to AEW. We're going to kick things off with FTR, a team who has just won the Tag Team Champions. And yeah, they've been on a good run as of late. They started the year kind of slow, kind of getting things started with Edge or Adam Copeland, but that kind of took a halt for a little while. Kind of kicked things off again, but again, went back on a stall. So yeah, where do you think we should put them at?
Yeah, they're going to be ranked pretty high. They had a really good run this year. I mean, it's going to be S or A. I'll let you kind of be the deciding factor of where you land on them.
Yeah, I think I'll probably put them in A. I think S tier. I think they just don't have as many great matches as what Brodito did this year. So I definitely have a good list of matches, but I don't think some of them hit the heights of what Brodito's team did this year. So I think A is going to be fine for them. But I think next year is something when we get that Christian and Cope tag team match with FTR, I think that'll kind of boost them back up and we get some more real tag team action with them.
No.
And then one of the newer tag teams to this list, but old friends and enemies, is going to be Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa. They've just lost in the finals of the women's inaugural tag team champions. So yeah, I think they've don't have too many matches in their belt, so I probably won't put them too high. But with what we've got so far, it's been pretty solid. So I'll probably be leaning towards B and C, but more probably towards the C tier just due to the lack of how much we got from them.
Yeah, probably C tier. The most and kind of intriguing thing about their tag team is their honestly not their in-ring stuff. Surprisingly, is I kind of like everything surrounding them. I love their entrances. I love their promos. I love the way that Toni kind of sells everything when she's in tag team matches. Because when she gets bumped and goes to make the hot tag, she knows how to do those hot tags really good to kind of get her teammate involved and back in the match and stuff. But yeah, they do a lot of good stuff. Their in-ring probably hasn't been amazing, but it has been pretty good. So I think C tier is probably good.
Yeah, and let's go back to TNA now with the Hardys boys. The team that's pretty much dominated the tag team division throughout the entire year. We've seen them drop the belts to the Nemesis a few times, but eventually always getting it back. And they're still the tag team champions now. So yeah, probably a pretty good year for the Hardys. Obviously, the match quality isn't going to be up there with the highest, but it's probably one of the most consistent tag teams and one of the teams with the most matches as well. So probably will put them somewhere towards the middle to the higher tiers. I probably would still put them B just in terms of the match quality, but I can understand an A as well.
Yeah, I mean, they've been double champions for roughly the entire year. Had some decent matches, none that were super amazing. They retired the Dudleys this year as well. So they do have quite a bit of accolades to go on this year. So I would say A tier.
Okay, I can do that for you since you had one for me, so I can agree with you.
And up next, we have the women's side of the Judgment Day being Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. They did a lot of really good in-ring work. Roxanne Perez has done a lot of good storytelling in general, and Raquel Rodriguez is someone who at the beginning of the year, people were maybe a little bit down on, not necessarily down, but kind of felt like she could be doing better things. But I feel like towards the second half of the year, she really picked it up, is getting world title matches now, and I think she's going to be someone special in 2026 with this story that they have going on with the Judgment Day. So I will put them pretty high, like a B tier maybe.
Yeah, I think B tier is fine. Again, I think their match quality has been better. I think individually, again, similar to what we said about the Division, where they've had a lot of individual success. Obviously, Raquel now going into the world title scene a little bit more, and now Roxanne kind of going towards that Intercontinental champion, but also having to fill the role of Liv Morgan while she was away for a little while. So yeah, I think this team did a very good job of what they had. So yeah, I can agree with a B tier.
Yeah, they definitely did a lot of really good work, but we're going back to AEW with the Outrunners, someone who's fairly new to AEW. They haven't been around for too long, but they've been pretty cool. I mean, they're a pretty just exciting and fun to watch tag team. They do just a lot of fun moves in general. They know how to get the crowd involved in their matches and things of that nature. They're not the greatest in-ring tag team or anything, but they do really good stuff, and probably put them C tier.
Yeah, I think even a D tier as well. I think at the end of last year, they kind of had the hype of potentially winning world champions at some point in AEW, but it feels like that's kind of gone away as of right now. The hype has kind of died down a little bit as well. They still had some decent moments and some good matches this year. However, I think it isn't that great. I probably would put it D just because I still think Hurt Syndicate was way better for what they got this year. Same thing with Bronson and both Bronsons.
Yeah, I do believe that they are a tier below them as well, so that's fine. But we're going back to AEW with the Babes of Wrath, your current AEW and inaugural AEW Tag Team Champions. So a lot of really good stuff from them. Once again, not a ton of matches, but they are their inaugural champions, so there's a big accolade to hold as a tag team. So I'll probably put them in B tier, I guess. I'm thinking somewhere around there, just slightly above Toni Storm.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like you said, not too much to go off just yet, but to what we've seen so far has been pretty solid. I think the combination was a good pairing for one another, and it gives them something that both women deserve, something big to kind of finish off this year, and this is something to kind of get things rolling into that 2026.
No.
But sticking in AEW, it's going to be the Young Bucks up next, a team that kind of started the year kind of slow after getting ran out from the Death Riders, but when coming back, we've seen the storyline with the EVPs, we've seen Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay team up to take their EVP roles, and we've seen the downfall of the Young Bucks turning into the Broke Bucks, and ever since then we kind of seen a little bit more of them more consistently, so yeah, pretty solid later half of the year, but yeah, where do we think we put Young Bucks?
Probably S or A once again. They basically have a match of the year contender potentially, depending on how you look at it, with their All-In match versus Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland. And they did a lot of other good matches recently as well, like the Lights Out Steel Cage match. And yeah, they just did a lot in general. They always do the Bucks. They always hit all the big shows, all the big PLEs. They give you good matches, they big matches, and they're probably going in S tier. They are just that good, honestly.
Yeah, I think in terms of the best match this year of a tag team, it's probably going to go to them. Like I said, with that Ospreay and Swerve Strickland match, but also the match with Jurassic Express first return. That was a really good tag team match. So yeah, really good way to finish off the year for the Young Bucks. Hopefully, we see that continue again next year.
Yeah, and we're going back to NXT now with Hank and Tank. Now, this year kind of was a weird year for the NXT tag team division because there wasn't really a tag team division there. Once Fraxium left, it kind of felt like it got halted. Hank and Tank did have the titles, and it was really just them and Dark State. And I guess the culling, if you want to kind of include them into it. But they haven't really done a ton with the tag team division in NXT since Fraxium left, and they haven't really done much with it either. But they are a two-time champion. They won the NXT Tag Team Champions as well as the GHC Tag Team Champions in Noah. So I probably will put them in C tier just based off of accomplishments, but nothing too amazing.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, when we seen Fraxium leave, it kind of showed what was really going on in that tag team division, where it was just Fraxium is so good that they're able to carry almost any team to an amazing match, and that's what they were able to do. Unfortunately, when they left, no one can really fill that role just like they could. So yeah, I think C tier is fine. The accomplishments, I guess, are pretty good, but hopefully they see some more improvement from them next year.
And we got DIY with our next one, a team who I don't recall them winning tag team gold this year. Maybe they did. It's kind of bounced around in that like little section in the middle of the year. Yeah, they may have took it from Motor City, or maybe Motor City took it from them. Somewhere around that time, they may have won it. But it wasn't a memorable run or anything necessarily. The whole tag team division really wasn't good until after WrestleMania. So yeah, I will rank them decently high. Like, well, I guess not high, but a C tier. I don't think they did a ton, but they did have really good in-ring quality, so maybe you could put it in B.
Yeah, I think I'll put them in B tier with the other SmackDown tag teams. I think when they were all kind of around the same time, it was all great. But again, once we seen the Wyatts kind of take those belts, everybody kind of stopped being seen as much as a tag team. So yeah, I think we have to put them all kind of in that same tier.
No.
And then going on back to AEW, it's going to be the newly returning tag team of Jurassic Express, a team we haven't seen too much of just yet, but what we've seen has been pretty good so far. We've seen them team up against the Young Bucks, and then we've seen them tag team with Kenny Omega versus Josh Alexander and the Young Bucks. So a pretty good start so far. We now see Jack Perry in the tag team or in the kind of classic, so might see a little bit of a break from that, but a team that I think has been pretty good so far.
Yeah, really not a ton to rank them off of, as you mentioned, but probably a B or C team. I mean, they had the in-ring quality of an A tier team, but the lack of matches will probably lower them to B, potentially C.
Yeah, I think I also put in B just in terms of the matches that they have been pretty good, especially, like I said, that Young Bucks match is one of my favorite matches pretty much of the year, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very excited for that 2026 with the amount of reactions that they're getting. But we're sticking with AEW with our next one. They're basically known as a trio, but they have had a lot of tag team matches this year as well, and it is going to be the Ops. So yeah, a lot of success for them in terms of just a team. They have the trios title. Joe is the world champion, so there's a lot of good stuff going on with them. There's Hook just joined as well, so that's, I guess, a good thing. But yeah, probably, I mean, as far as a tag team, they're obviously more known as a trio and a faction. So as a tag team specifically, I will rank them in C tier. And I feel like, if this was a trios list or a factions list, I would rank them a lot higher.
Yeah, I can agree with that as well. I think, like you said, the lack of real tag team-ness from this team hasn't been there, but if they were kind of going into that a little bit more, I think you could see a lot more success from the Ops.
No.
And then going back to WWE now, we're going to go with the Kabuki Warriors. I believe they did win the Tag Team Champions at one point this year. But yeah, had a very solid year since Asuka returned. We've seen a bit more of Kairi Sane as well. In that meantime, where she has been able to improve, and now as a tag team, we've seen a lot of better matches from them. More consistent matches, I would say, as well. So yeah, very solid middle to end of the year so far from the Kabuki Warriors. But where do you think we rank them?
Yeah, they definitely have won the tag team titles this year because they are your current tag team champions. But yeah, I will put them pretty high. I mean, Kairi Sane is someone who's really rose her stocks this year a lot. I think in 2024, people were once again kind of down on her, but in 2025, she rose her stock, showed that she is that good in ring. Her like comedy that she does in ring with her like facial expressions and things, that way she sells, and her little thing that she has with Asuka where she's calling her name and Asuka's just kind of betraying her in every way that she possibly can, but they kind of dropped that story. So a lot of good stuff from this tag team in terms of storytelling. So I will put them in. I mean, honestly, it might be A or B. Their in-ring quality is amazing. Their backstage stuff is great. Asuka's big return was this year. Kyrie had a good year. So A or B to me.
Yeah, I think I'd probably still put them in B tier. I think Alexa and Charlotte kind of just edge them out by a little bit more, and I don't think they're also in the tier some of the other teams as well. But it is a very close option. I could see a lot of people putting it into the A tier, so I wouldn't be too surprised if other people have it differently.
Yeah, and we're going to go back to AEW with Jet Speed, Kevin Knight, and Speedball Mike Bailey, two people who really kind of set AEW on fire this year and showed people that, hey, just because, we weren't part of a big promotion pre-AEW, that doesn't mean we're not up there with the big dogs of AEW and WWE. So they're two of the best wrestlers that are currently in the Continental Classic doing some amazing things. So their tag team stuff's kind of slowed down recently. But I will put them really high because their in-ring quality is that good, and it will be B tier. You could put them in A tier potentially, but I'm thinking B tier is probably more appropriate.
Yeah, I think I'll put them in B tier. Obviously, we've seen them kind of form a little bit after April, so yeah, very kind of interesting year now with the Continental Classic going. We've seen them go against each other, which is amazing. But yeah, everything we've seen from them has been amazing. I think obviously the only thing that's going to really hold them back is just going to be the lack of accomplishments. They weren't able to win the tag team champions just yet, but I think next year when they're out of the Continental Classic, that's definitely something that I think their odds are going to be set on, and it should be a very fun run for them when they do get those champions. But yeah, probably going to be in B tier as well, but again, another one where I could see a lot of people put them in A tier and even S tier as well. I think they've been one of the most consistent tag teams along with Brodito.
Yeah, and we have Motor City Machine Guns, former World Tag Team Champions in WWE, as part of a lackluster run, unfortunately. But they were part of all the big tag team matches, basically. They have been doing some stuff recently with Sami Zayn versus the MFTs and things of that nature. So not a ton to go on with them, but their in-ring quality is great. I love their presentation in WWE, their entrance, their music, which is rare to say in WWE. But yeah, a lot of good stuff going from Motor City. I am pretty high on them. I do really like Motor City. So probably still sticking with that B tier, kind of filling that out even more, I think.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. Again, kind of where all of the other SmackDown tag team lots, I think they all should kind of go there. Yeah, just because they're all around, it was all good. But as soon as they kind of all went away, everything kind of went bad.
And our next team is going to be one of the greatest tag teams, the New Day. Obviously part of their big heel run that they've had, that they started last year, I believe. And now this year, they've kind of slowed down a lot. They don't do as much of their backstage stuff and their funny moments that they had where they're kind of talking shit to each other between Kofi and Xavier. They kind of ended that as well. But they have picked it back up recently. They're currently in a feud with the Usos, it seems like. So there's a lot of good stuff with the New Day. Great in-ring, but unfortunately they did have a pretty bad WrestleMania match, so that will kind of slide them down the tier for me and put them in C, I think.
Yeah, I think the potential of this year for the New Day would have been up there in the A tiers. However, with the heel turn, what they did with Big E, everything was kind of going really up. But after they won the tag team champions, it took a very while to actually have a match. And then when they did have matches, there's only 2 title defenses during this reign. So yeah, very lackluster year from the New Day, and I think the potential was there, but execution was not.
Yeah, and we're going to go to NXT with Dark State, someone who's did a lot of stuff in TNA, did a lot of stuff in NXT. They lost the titles to the Hardys, won the titles from the Hardys. And that's pretty much their 2025, basically. They obviously did a lot of backstage stuff, and they were jumping Javon Evans and Obafemi and Trick Williams and doing all that sort of stuff. But in terms of in-ring quality, nothing too amazing. Their best match is surprisingly probably the Hardys, where they ended a match in a very cool way. But I'm not going to put them high. It's going to be C or D, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think they really turned it around as of late since that win over the Hardy. I think that's when kind of things got a little bit better from them. But I will still put them in C tier as well. Yeah, the start of the year wasn't great for them. And yeah, hopefully now we see Saquon Sugars in the tag team division for them. Hopefully things are a little bit better now.
And back to AEW with the Sisters of Sin, or the Triangle of Madness, however you want to refer to them as. But they are a great tag team. Unfortunately, they have lost in the women's tag team tournament in AEW pretty early on. So that kind of a bummer for a team that's been there for a long time and is sort of like the staple tag team of the women's division, has been a part of each other for the entire year, sort of. But, you know, I will put them decently high. They had a great blood and guts match that we got to see live. They had a pretty good tag team tournament run, I guess, even though they lost pretty early. But probably C tier, could be B tier, but probably leaning more towards C myself.
Yeah, I think C tier is fine. I think, again, unfortunately, they didn't have that many moments to kind of shine, but I think when they have that time, I think they did do well. Like you said, the Blood and Guts, I think, is the most, their best match this year. Obviously, not a real tag team match or a real trios match, but those three women really shined during that match, and I think that's going to be the key takeaway this year from all three. So, yeah, I think C tier is fine, but again, Tina, I do expect to be higher next year.
And to finish this one off, we have the War Raiders. As I mentioned earlier, they did kind of have a bummer WrestleMania match. And outside of that, they haven't really done a ton. I mean, previous to WrestleMania, they were doing pretty well as terms of like building them up towards that tag team title run that they've been on. But after WrestleMania, after losing their titles, really hasn't been much to kind of go on about. So I will put them in maybe D tier. But if you want to put them in C, that's fine too.
No, I think I'll put them in D tier as well. I think the skill obviously doesn't reflect D tier. However, everything they kind of done hasn't been so great, and ever since they did lose at WrestleMania, we had seen a few rematches with the New Day and some other tag teams. But yeah, eventually we kind of haven't seen them, and it feels like quite a few months, I would say now. But yeah, a team that I hope does get things going one last time before eventually we probably see them leave WWE or retire from wrestling. So yeah, hopefully one last run from the Warriors would be nice, but unfortunately this year, not a great way to go on.
And that is going to be our ranking as the final tag team. Obviously, there's a ton more tag teams that we could have put on this list, but the lack of matches that they had, or maybe we just didn't see the matches, there's a whole lot of things of why we didn't put those tag teams. But these are the majority of teams that had a ton of matches this year and were kind of dominant on TV. But it is going to be day 24 of our December marathon. We appreciate you guys for watching. Y'all have a Merry Christmas tomorrow, and yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow in the video as well.